called Due Parenting Pod. Don't forget that.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
we're back again. Do you know that P-Square song just jumped into my head as soon as I said we're back again? Hi guys, welcome back to Do. We're learning and we're growing and we're figuring this whole podcast thing out. And my name is Ibrahim. This is
Linda Ejiofor Suleiman.
And we promised earlier that this wouldn't be all about us all the time. From time to time, we'll bring our family and our friends who are within and outside the industry, but are experienced in some way.
The ones who didn't tell us.
Yes, some of the ones that did not tell us, we'll bring them here and let them know that they did not tell us.
And I'll tell them to their face. You didn't tell us.
So we have with us today my brother and my sister. So interesting, backstory. So I met Chuca first, and that was 10 years ago now.
About roughly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I met his beautiful wife. But for some reason, initially,
her name.
Sorry, her name is Evie. Initially, right, no jokes, I felt closer to her before I, Chuka and I now started to spend a bit more time, and then we started to become brothers.
Wow.
No, because, my cousin's name is Evie.
Okay.
So we just, from the moment I met her, we just bonded. I just felt like, oh, this is someone I can trust and I can tell whatever, and then
She has that. She has that
yes.
thing about her that you would just click immediately.
So even though she's my baby sister, but in my mind, she's my big sister. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. Like, Evie just has this thing where she just takes care of everybody. Like, I'm sleeping now because she fed me too much before we started recording.
So I have no hand in any of all that.
You did try. So
Chuca is a wonderful man.
Chuca is my brother.
And he takes care of the beautiful Evie.
Yes. So by extension, Chuca takes care of everybody because, And he's also my business partner. And he's one of those guys that pushes me to do the things that I have.
Speaking of pushing, Chuca practically
yes.
pushed me to do this. He's like, Linda, what are you both doing? What are you waiting for? Do something. Think of something. Let me know. So we thought of this and he's like,
Let's do it. So we're doing it. So let's start with Evie. So Evie, tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do. The works, basically.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ejiofor Ofili.
No. Doctor.
Okay.
Just come a little closer to the mic.
We're going that way. Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Precious Ejiofor Ofili.
Forgot the doctor.
This humility is not working for me. Let them know.
It's not easy now.
Okay, so some of you might know me as the Two Doc.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah.
I'm a dentist.
Yeah.
And thank God, most recently a dental clinic owner.
Hey.
So the Smile HQ is coming very soon. Very, very soon. I don't know, should we say dates? Because I don't know when
by the time this goes out, it will be up and running.
It would have already been in business. Yeah. So married to this fantastic guy, my best friend.
Actually.
Sweetie, I was telling you, was it today or yesterday that
Yes.
I don't know how after
12, 13, 12.
16 years.
Okay, 16.
That you still give me butterflies.
Seriously? 16 years.
After 16 years, yeah.
16 years.
From school things.
Yeah.
I'm blushing.
Since you guys blushing.
I'm blushing. You can't see because my skin is black. So I'm blushing.
No, but you guys are doing amazing.
Today's topic is, pretty hard, but being married to him has made it bearable.
Well done.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, so baby.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Say baby, talk.
okay, so my name is Chuka Ofili. I'm a software engineer. I work for Facebook and married to a love.
Money.
See, don't mind Chuka. Chuka always tries to downplay some things, but this is when we. Chuka is a big deal. Do you understand?
Just a regular guy.
When I throw his name around these days because I'm like, oh, Chuka Ofili is my friend. He comes to my house.
So you know how
We hang
to
out.
We hang.
We eat from the same place.
We literally eat from the same place. Now my guy, So when people know that I know Chuka, there's a little bit of, and he wears t-shirts, so You will not be forming humble. This guy is okay. You were saying?
As I was saying,
Yeah. Facebook.
no, I've moved past that one. Moved past that one. But yeah, met Ibrahim, as he said, about 10, 12, 11 years ago.
11, actually.
Yeah. It was at Bankole's house.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bankole Williams.
Whoop, whoop. Big W.
Yeah. And we've had a very... Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Don't worry.
So
If I'll tell you,
we'll reconvene on this
yeah,
district.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Me, I just found out too.
Alright, so and we've had a very decent friendship ever since then. Trying to do business together, trying to run things together.
As it.
You know, I remember when he was raving about the other misses right
This
now.
gorgeous lady.
Yes. I said, you have to meet this skinny girl. You have to. He did not say it was Linda.
Yeah.
But when he said it, I was like, oh.
No, but
okay.
bro, why were you coding it?
Why
now?
you
You
code that
coded
first?
for a
Shy.
while.
I was shy.
But why now?
I was shy. So 2 reasons. First of all, I was shy. Second reason, I do want a situation where people will be like, Ibro, this one did not work. I was just like,
You wanted to be sure.
I wanted to be sure.
because these people, they have heard all my heartbreak stories. It's true. They've told me sorry plenty times. So I didn't want them to have to say sorry again first. So I just said, I'm saying someone, until I was sure
Yes.
that,
She's the one.
yeah.
Yeah. Dab the eyebrows again. Dab the eyebrows again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so we're here today and we're happy for the marriage that they've had. We've watched closely. We've been great friends. Now they have a baby boy.
Beautiful baby
boy.
Thank
Yeah. So that accusation that they are saying, we tell them they don't want to hear.
How did you tell us that we don't want to
No,
hear?
not you. Him.
Okay.
It's not as if he has not heard. We have this group called Our Boys. He has heard plenty.
No, to be fair,
But-
my boy's on the group.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I think only like 2 people don't have babies yet. We've grown, no?
Should be they need to be married first.
Yes. Well, there's that.
Well, they don't have to be married first, but
You know,
you know.
But we try to make sure that
we are well behaved.
while we have home training, so we try to
Let
make
us
sure
speak
that.
for ourselves on this table. Yes. So, cool. We're happy to join you guys on the podcast.
Thank you.
Whatever questions you want to fire away,
Girl.
and we'll make it happen.
So, so basically, the podcast is basically about parenting, new, old, whatever. As long as you are a parent and you have seen things, you have tales to tell. We like to, especially topics, the conversations that people just either think are not that deep to have or are too deep to have.
Or that are not relevant.
So, and it took me, how will I put this now? At first, I didn't even realize how much work you guys had had to put in, raising Adrian. And the day that someone else, that I was, I'm kind of close to, was, giving me a breakdown of all the things that she has had to go through to get, because she has a 13-year-old, and she was giving me just that's when it hit me that, man, how are these 2 people keeping it together? Like, raising a special needs young man is because first of all, he's male, so the energy levels are all over the place.
So let me
first of all, how did you?
Let me jump in there. First of all, so for context, for those who are listening, so we have 2 kids, right? 2 boys, as I like to call them, 2 dictators. One is 11, that's Adrian, and then the younger one is 8, I believe, Andre, right?
I believe you.
I just knew that if he was talking to let that slide.
That's why I looked at you like, I did not know.
Why didn't you just walk up past?
Let's go.
Well, public forum. You don't tackle me like this now.
Okay, go on, baby.
Studs
Go on.
up, tackle.
Anyway, as I was saying, so Adrian is on the spectrum, and when we say someone's on the spectrum, you know what? I'll let Evie speak more about it because she's the doctor, but he's on the spectrum, baby.
Okay. Yes, I'm a doctor, but it's not my field. Let me just put that
Disclaimer.
disclaimer out there. Exactly. The reason why I know what I know is because my son is on the spectrum. And when we're talking, there are different kinds of spectrum. There are color spectrums. Some people, all they know, maybe it's just about colors. Sometimes when my husband said spectrum, so some people will be wondering that,
is it light? Is it
light? Is it color? What kind of spectrum? So my son is on the autism spectrum. So my son was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder just before his 3rd birthday. Yes. So what is autism?
Maybe we should start from
Let's
that.
start from there. So it's a neurobiological disorder that basically affects language development, right? It affects behavior, and it also affects social interaction. And that is at its mildest form. Sometimes it comes with other comorbidities, other illnesses and other things, but basically that's what autism is. So my son, let me just talk about what got me worried. Okay, let's start from there. Okay,
I think was it you that started? Was it me?
It was me. You don't get worried easily.
No, I know being about
You
worry.
always tell me
I'm
to
just
calm down.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying, like, how did we first notice? Wasn't it the delayed speech? How did it start?
Yes.
It wasn't saying daddy or mommy, I remember.
Yeah.
That's where it started from. Okay. Go ahead.
When you have, as a mom, when you have your newborn child, especially your firstborn, you're always, very excited, very happy. Then obviously you're, keeping at par with the milestones.
Yeah.
You have your
app.
what's the name of that card? The
Flashcards.
immunization cards.
Oh, immunization
Yeah,
cards,
the
okay.
immunization cards that have, the dates.
yeah.
Okay, by this age, your child should do this. By this age, your child should do that. So he had been meeting his milestones, basically, First of all, let me just, very handsome boy. Very chubby baby. Very friendly. He was always smiling at everyone.
Yeah.
Very playful and all that. Everybody just wanted to, have his picture. Very cute boy. Why isn't this boy modeling? Why isn't this boy doing this? So, yeah. So he was eating very well. My son is, he's up till today.
Foodie.
He's a
Yeah,
foodie. So
foodie.
I've never had to struggle with him, as regards food. Those my parents would be saying, this boy, I don't know why he doesn't eat. So this girl, help me. No, not my child. My child eats everything and anything, right? So we just noticed that, okay, my mom basically was, up till now, he's his best friend. She has always been his caretaker, basically, because I was still... I had him right after med school, so I was doing my housemanship at that time, and so I had to be going, for my posting. So my mom was always with him all the time, and so she just mentioned that, I used to watch her sometimes, when I get back from work before I get him and all that. She would just be saying that she just always tries to, get him to talk, talk back to her, that he wasn't doing much of babbling, that he would just be laughing. He'll just be laughing. Anything, he'll just laugh. But anyway, we didn't take it as anything. By the time he was about 9 months old, at least there should be some little language, at least attempts to say mama, or dada, there was none of that. But still happy baby, still healthy baby. So we're just saying, and I kept on looking at the immunization card. It kept on saying, okay, by 3 years, there should be language. So I was just thinking, okay, we are still far from 3 years, so don't let me be too worried, I went online, I Googled.
We all Google.
I Googled, but I didn't want to be worried. I just saw something. I just said, okay, autism, sometimes there's delay in that. I said, God forbid, not my child. My child will not be be on the autism spectrum. But yeah, that was, so he was 1. Another thing was on his first birthday. We had a party, first son, it was a big one and all that. We just noticed that, like, when it was time to take photos with his cake, he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
You call him, by the cake, and, the photographers, call him, Adrian, let's look up. He was just always engrossed on
Something different, yeah.
Was just always engrossed by other things and all that. He was not paying. I noticed that he wasn't just paying attention and all that. I just said, okay, he's a baby. If you don't be worried, there's no big deal and all that. Then we started noticing that he, even as early as 1, he started, having like little tantrums.
Yeah.
But initially it used to be cute because it used to make us laugh. When you can't move, you can't do much. And maybe you're trying to communicate and, he would just do this thing. And everybody would be laughing. My mom would be saying, I should be laughing. It was cute then. When he now started, getting
Becoming
mobile
more.
and moving around, and when you see that your 1+ child is upset about something and carries something and throws it. Now be wondering, okay,
Something's going on.
this is like a tantrum,
Yeah.
like serious tantrum. What's happening?
And I remember vividly when after like the second or third tantrum, she really got worried and she came and she said, let's go and have him checked out, right? In fact, actually, before she said that, he was going to this prep school called Smart Kids, I think. And the teachers also there, right, the prep school, they were saying, they were noticing subtle differences between him and other
And
kids.
kids his age.
And usually it's a very delicate topic. So
And what
it's-
age did you decide to take him to school?
To this prep school.
1+.
1+, yes.
Started
Started at
the-
1+, yeah.
Something like a daycare.
A daycare.
Right,
So
okay.
Like
go to work,
daycare.
she'll go to work, and then he will go to daycare, and then we'll pick him back up. And I remember when they called us in and they wanted to talk to us about this, it was delicate. I feel like they wanted to tell us,
But then they didn't
but they
know
didn't.
how to. Yeah.
Yes. So, they took their time. And
But
they-
sweetie, if you remember, sorry to
Yeah.
cut you short, but if you remember, the lady actually mentioned that, she thought that something was wrong, but maybe because it wasn't her place.
To diagnose.
To say it was
diagnose,
this, yeah, or
maybe she
that.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes some kids outgrow these things, so she didn't want to just put it out there and say
say,
this is what is wrong.
wrong.
Oh,
She
they
just
do outgrow
mentioned
it.
sometimes some kids do.
Some kids do, yeah.
And she just said we should just have him checked that he's different from his classmates.
classmates,
She
yeah.
mentioned some points. She said he wasn't that he liked to be by himself,
Right.
which is also one of the red flags.
Flags, yeah.
That he liked to be by himself. He didn't really used to interact with
Other
other kids
people.
like that. That if you come to me, you say, but like he wasn't really interested
Outgoing.
in going to meet all the other children to hang out with them and all. And that's he wasn't saying
Delayed
much. He wasn't
speech
saying
wasn't saying
anything
much.
at all.
Yeah, that was his.
So,
And-
but I was in denial because when she even brought it up, I was, I
shut
was
it down.
upset.
Shut
I
it
shut
down,
it down
yeah.
immediately. I was like,
Yeah.
but yes, he might not be, talking yet. And we know that, kids talk at different
Different
ages
times,
and
yeah.
all that. But, he's singing because he used to, funny
He's
enough,
still-
he
him
could
and
sing.
music, yeah. He
Yeah,
has a
he's
special
still-
relationship
yeah,
with
he likes
music till
music.
now.
He could sing. He could, he'll be humming and, sometimes he would sing, So I'm like, okay, how can a child sing
and yet not
and not talk? Funny enough,
That happens.
That happens.
it can happen,
So I remember they called their own in-house pediatrician, right? And he took a look at him, and his own assessment was, first of all, he said, okay, well, that this might be beyond him because he's a pediatrician,
Pediatrician,
right? So, but that we should, what he suggested was we should get him checked
For his
out to
ears.
see if he
Hearing.
can hear. That's where, to be honest, that's where really our journey started from. So we went to, I think it was Yaba.
Yeah, we were directed to military hospital,
Military hospital,
Yaba,
yes, Yaba. So
to
we
get
went,
his hearing checked.
get his hearing checked, and he passed. I mean, he could hear from all. So we're like, okay, so it's not auditory. Okay, so what's the next
What's
step?
the-
So
Yeah.
at this point, he was about 2+.
2+, yes, by the way. Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
he
took.
wasn't
He was
two.
2+.
When we did the auditory test, it was still 1
No, he was 2. We had his birthday at Smart Kids.
already.
His second birthday, yes.
Got
So
it.
he was 2+.
Okay, it was 2+.
Yeah.
So we did the auditory test, and then they now said the person who did the test said, look, that we should get a proper consultant, behavioral specialist to check him out. So we're like, where are we going to start?
And
looking
honestly,
for
guys, let me
behavioral
just add that
specialist?
at this point, I would have given anything to if they had just told me that he needs hearing aids.
Yeah, you.
That's what he should have said, exactly.
As in, my heart was
Yeah.
really beat. I was just saying, God, let them just say he needs hearing aids. At
Because
least
she'll know
it's
that
fine.
that's
He
where
can
it
use-
is.
at
He
least
can
that's
work with
just
it.
what it is. But
Oh,
autism, whether or whatever.
No, at this point, I don't
could
think
possibly have
we
been.
hadn't even gone to the point that we thought it was autism. We just like, okay, something is
So
wrong.
she
At
had
the back of
Googled.
my
Yes.
mind,
She
Yeah.
had Googled and she
at the
knew.
back of my mind, it was there. It was there.
Anyway, so luckily we found a behavioral specialist who, and just putting this out there, I think a lot of parents who might be going through this or may go through this, the first instinct is usually denial. And when I say denial, I'm not even saying from, oh, you don't believe it. Some is even religious backs that, no, my children cannot, FY, so on and so forth. The truth is, I feel like things happen to different families and different children for a reason, right? If you're religious, it's so that God's name will be glorified. If you're not, then there's a lesson there, right? And I don't think you should deprive, your, let me use the word, situation of the opportunity for you to
grow,
pursue
yeah.
a way to fix scenarios if, you find yourself in such a place. So it was difficult. I constantly, because it was always a back and forth between me and she was in denial for some time. But I'll talk to her. And, what I used to say was, at the end of the day, think 15 years from now, 20 years from now, this boy is going to be fine. And as long as you have the belief that the end will still be okay, makes it easier to go through the journey. Many times, she'll be emotionally down. It's not easy, Anyway, so let me not to digress too much to the front. I'm just saying, got a behavioral specialist, checked him out, and then that's first time I ever heard of the word spectrum.
Autism spectrum.
No, I first said spectrum. That's what she first said. Like, he's on the spectrum. That's what Mabel said. It was the spectrum. I was like, wait, what's in spectrum?
What happened was she was like, she didn't want us to dwell on a diagnosis because sometimes parents are carried away by the diagnosis. When they just hear it, they are scared and they are down and they lose it. And she just said, he's somewhere on the spectrum.
Yeah, that's what she said.
That don't let's dwell on the diagnosis. Let's focus on therapy. Let's focus on getting him, aware. Let him become aware, and all that. Because, and funny enough, I just realized that, he got this diagnosis just before his third birthday. Maybe like 2 months before his third birthday. But even when he started therapy that early, I was wondering that isn't he too young for therapy and all that? But
thank God
the earlier you start therapy,
early intervention
is
better.
Yes, the better. And that goes to every parent. You should know. And what wastes time for a lot of kids is parents are still, going up and down, back and forth, going from church to church. I won't lie, I went to church at some point to pray, because that was based on advice from, our parents and some other people. We went to pray, we did deliverance.
We're not saying you shouldn't pray, or you should pray if you.
Everything works together.
Everything,
Yes, everything is important. Prayer and all that, telling God, you gave us this child, do your own part. But at the same time, we should do our own part to make sure that the child is equipped with what the child needs to live in this world and all that. So I remember from family, we were getting advice. Don't worry, a lot of don't worries. I know Kinikon Lagbaja son started talking at 3+.
Yeah.
Lagbaja Kinikon son started talking at 5. Don't worry. Can't you see look at how he is very friendly. He's very and another thing is, our son is sort of high functioning. Because when compared to a lot of kids on the autism, that's why it's a spectrum. There are some people that are, high functioning, and there are some kids that are, way down there that need a lot of help and a lot of care that can't even go to school. So our son had a lot of strengths. He has eye contact. Eye contact is one of some kids. I used to be confused because he had very good eye contact. So when I used to go through all the the list of things that the red flags, you look he didn't have most
of those
things there, but just a very few. But the few things he had were pronounced. Exactly, that's the word. Thank you, baby. So it was pronounced. So those were the things we now had to work on. So there was no language initially. Our son started speaking with therapy. He started speaking at 4. So for the first time I heard my mom call me mom was when he was 4 years old.
And speaking of which, I even remember the journey there. And this probably may help parents who are find themselves in the same situation. One of the things that used to cause Adrian's tantrums at the time was when he's trying to communicate, but he cannot. He gets frustrated because you don't understand him, and the cycle is repeated. And to make matters worse, he's a strong-willed child. So you add that on top of, so there are some children that they try to communicate, they get frustrated. After a few minutes, they let it go. He will not, because
you must.
He has to pass his point across.
So when he was much younger, those were the frustrating times. When a tantrum starts, he can be in that state for 2 hours straight. Sometimes 3 hours. There was a day Mabel was in the house, and maybe close to 4 hours, he was just in a tantrum. The tantrum started early, screaming, shouting, but after a while, you could see him visibly shaking, because at this point, it's not even longer about the fact that he's trying to communicate. It's just frustration that we can't understand each other. So when you see yourselves in that kind of scenario, at least what helped us was after a while, we now figured out the best way is to teach him how to calm down. right? And we started trying that. We tried a lot of things. Water helps. Giving them a bath.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The shouting and the screaming, that is the difficult bit. But again, each child is different. You need to figure out what's the thing that can calm him down.
Yeah.
And then when you calm him down, right, maybe he'll forget about the situation, or maybe he'll still be on it, but
we'll just find a
he'll
way
find a way
around it.
around
We'll find
it.
a way around it.
Yeah.
And obviously, one thing we've noticed is that he has gotten older. He has gotten most of the things that were difficult for him, they've become, simpler. We were advised that obviously with therapy and all, as he gets older, he will start getting more skills. And it's true.
It's true.
As he gets older, he's getting more skilled at every stage in his life. Some things that, he couldn't do before, things that he couldn't do before, we just realized that he can do it now easily. Especially, basically, expressing things. His use of language has improved. His vocabulary is now, much broader.
So
uses
proud
a
of
lot
him.
of words
We never
that he didn't used to use before, and all that.
Although we must add that having a sibling helped.
So that, funny enough, that's the question that I was going to ask. So I'm glad that I didn't have to prompt that, because normally people say that when you have a younger child, they learn faster from they learn the younger ones learn faster from the older ones. So I wanted to ask that in this case, so did the reverse happen? And I'm glad that it actually helped.
Yeah, it did.